Some of the most sought after places to live in Dallas aren't the neighborhoods everyone is talking about. And while most buyers are focused on the same handful of well known suburbs, thousands of residents are quietly moving to other parts of the DFW that offer a better balance of lifestyle, value, convenience, and long term potentials. So today, we're going to talk about where Dallas area residents are moving right now and why they are making those moves and what these neighborhoods have in common. And make sure you stay until the end because I'm going to share the biggest trend driving these moves. And it's something that's changing how people choose where to live throughout Dallas Fort Worth. A few months ago, I was working with a family that had lived in the same area for nearly 10 years. When we first met, they were convinced that they already knew where they wanted to move. They had friends there. They liked the reputation. The schools were good. And frankly, it was one of the areas everyone seems to talk about. But as we started discussing their daily routine, their budget, their commute, and what they actually wanted life to look like over the next several years, something became pretty clear. They weren't really looking for that city. They were looking for a lifestyle. And once they started evaluating communities through that lens, they ended up moving somewhere completely different. The funny thing is, after they moved, they told me they couldn't believe they hadn't considered the area sooner. And that's something I'm seeing more and more often across DFW. If we're just meeting, my name's Eugene Gonzalez, and I help buyers and sellers navigate the Dallas-Fort Worth market and understand how different communities fit different lifestyles. One of the biggest things happening right now is that buyers are expanding their search areas. A few years ago, many people had very narrow search criteria. They wanted one city only, one specific school district, one specific neighborhood even. And if they couldn't find exactly what they wanted there, they just simply kept waiting. Today, that's changing. People are becoming more flexible. They're looking beyond just some of the obvious choices. They're exploring areas they may have overlooked in the past. And in many cases, they're discovering communities that fit their needs even better. One area where I'm seeing this happen is with buyers moving further north. For years, community like Frisco attracted enormous attention, and for good reason, honestly. Strong schools, strong employment growth, shopping, dining, amenities. But as prices increased, buyers began looking at nearby alternatives. Places like Prosper, Salina, and other growing northern communities started getting more attention. Many buyers discovered they could buy newer homes, larger lots, and a different pace of life while remaining connected to the broader DFW economy. For some people, that trade-off made perfect sense. Another trend I'm seeing is people prioritizing convenience over prestige. This is a major shift. Years ago, many buyers focused heavily on living in the most recognizable suburb they can afford. Today, people are asking different questions. How long is my commute? How much time am I spending in traffic? How close am I to restaurants, parks, shopping, and everyday conveniences? Can I spend more time with my family and less time driving? Those questions are influencing decisions more than ever before. And because of that, some communities that offer strong accessibility are quietly attracting more residents. Another interesting trend involves buyers looking for established neighborhoods instead of brand new developments. For years, new construction dominated many conversations around TFW. And while new homes remain extremely popular, there are plenty of buyers who are intentionally choosing mature neighborhoods. They like the larger trees, the established character, the unique architecture, the feeling that comes with communities that have grown naturally over time. For some buyers, that lifestyle is worth more than having the newest finishes. Another thing driving movement throughout Dallas is remote and hybrid work. A few years ago, commute time often dictated where people lived. Now, many buyers only go into the office a few days a week. Some work entirely from home. That flexibility has changed the equation. People are willing to consider areas that may have felt too far away before. At the same time, other buyers are intentionally moving closer to employment centers because they've realized just how much their commute impacts their quality of life. What's fascinating is that both trends are happening simultaneously. Some people are moving further out, others, they're moving closer in. But they're all making decisions based on lifestyle, not just location. Another thing I see happening is buyers searching for value rather than simply searching for the lowest price. And those are two very different things. The cheapest option isn't always the best value. The most expensive option isn't always the best value either. Smart buyers are asking what they're getting for their money. How does the community compare to nearby alternatives? What amenities are available? How strong is future demand likely to be? What kind of growth is happening nearby? Value is about the complete picture, and many buyers are finding it in places that they never originally considered. Families with young children are making moves based on schools, parks, recreation, and community events. Young professionals are prioritizing convenience, entertainment, and access to employment. Empty nesters are looking for low maintenance living, walkability, and lifestyle amenities. The interesting thing is that they're often choosing completely different locations for just completely different reasons. That's why I always caution people against asking what's the best neighborhood in Dallas. Because to be honest, there really isn't one. The better question is, what's the neighborhood that's right for me? Because your priorities matter more than someone else's recommendation. One thing that surprises many people is how much movement occurs within DFW itself. When people think about relocation, most of the times imagine moving from, let's say, a California, a New York, or another state. But a huge amount of movement actually happens here locally. People move from one suburb to another, from older homes to newer communities, from long commutes to much shorter ones, from larger homes to more manageable properties. Dallas residents are constantly reevaluating what they want from where they live. And that creates opportunities in areas that don't always dominate the headlines. Now, let's talk about what all these popular neighborhoods have in common. Because whether we're talking about communities further north, closer to employment centers, or established neighborhoods, or emerging areas, the common thread is lifestyle. People are becoming more intentional about lifestyle. They're thinking about how they actually spend their time. They want convenience. They want flexibility. They may want amenities. They want homes that fit the way that they live today. The neighborhoods attracting the most attention right now aren't necessarily the ones with the loudest marketing, for instance. They're the communities delivering what residents actually value. And that brings me to the biggest trend I promised earlier. People are no longer choosing neighborhoods based primarily on reputation. They're choosing neighborhoods based on daily life. They're asking what a typical Tuesday looks like. How long does it take to get to work? Where do they go for dinner? How much time they spend in the car? What weekends feel like? How connected they feel to the community? Those are the questions driving decisions. And honestly, I think that it's a very healthy shift, because at the end of the day, real estate isn't just about houses. It's about how you live. The right neighborhood isn't necessarily the one everyone else wants. It's the one that supports the lifestyle you're trying to create. If you're thinking about moving anywhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you're trying to determine which community fits your goals, your budget, and your lifestyle, reach out. I'd be happy to help you compare different areas, explore options you may not have considered, and find the neighborhood that truly fits what you're looking for. And before you go, if you could move anywhere in Dallas-Fort Worth today, where would it be and why? Drop a line in the comments and let's talk about it.